million. When Peter Buffett was 19 years old, he got $90,000, which became worth $200 million. The reason for this is because Peter Buffett's father is Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett, as you know, is a great investor. At the time when Peter was 19 years old, Warren had already been keeping Peter's inheritance from his grandparents in shares in Berkshire Hathaway. On Peter's birthday, he got a choice as to whether or not he wanted to keep them in shares or whether he'd rather sell it and go do something with that money. So what would you have done? What Peter did was he decided to sell the shares because he thought he had something much more valuable than money to invest in. And the thing he decided to invest in was his time. Peter was actually studying at Stanford University at the time to be a CEO or an investor. And he's like, you know what? I don't even want to do that. I'd rather be a musician. I wonder if I can actually take this money and stretch it out, buy myself time, and figure out actually how to do what I really would love to do with my life. Peter actually wrote a book about this, which is called Life is What You Make It. And in the book, he actually says what happened at the moment that he decided to actually move out of Stanford. He said, with the help of my father, I worked out a budget that would allow me to conserve my capital for as long as possible. I moved to San Francisco, where I lived frugally, small apartment, funky car. My sole extravagance was expanding my recording equipment. So now he's playing his piano. He's putting ads in the paper to try and make a bit of money, where he's going to be helping to record other people's stuff as well. So this is all going on until he gets to the one thing which always happens the moment you truly follow your life path, which is he falls into luck. He writes, I waited until a very important bit of good luck tracked me down one day in 1981 as I stood at a San Francisco curbside washing my crummy old car. A neighbor with whom I'd had nothing more than a nodding acquaintance happened by and asked, what did I do for a living? So Peter tells the truth. He says, I'm just a struggling artist trying to make it as a musician. So the next thing is he's in contact with his son-in-law. He gets a job to put some jingles together with the animation for a new TV channel. And it turns out that TV channel becomes MTV. Of course, MTV grows, it becomes a phenomenon. And during this whole period, Peter's entire career is exploding. He ends up going out, winning an Emmy. He ends up producing over a dozen albums, and he becomes a New York Times bestselling author. And with the money he makes, he goes and sets up his own philanthropy organization, his own foundation, and not once after that first $90,000 does his father give him any money for himself. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking, well, that's fine for him because he got an inheritance from a rich dad. But here's a question for you. If you actually were given a gift and that gift was time, what would you do with that gift? Here's another thing that Peter says. Having that money was a privilege, a gift I had not earned. You know, we're in a crisis right now. And this is not anything that any of us have ever earned. But you could ask, is this actually a gift? What if it was? What if it was the greatest gift? Because it's actually giving us all time. When Peter was asked many years later, did he regret giving up so much money? He said, not at all, because what I bought was so much more precious. I bought my time. And with that time, he bought his dream life. I know with this crisis, there are many people who are losing their lives. There are many people losing their loved ones. I know with this crisis, there are people who are going hungry. There are people who are falling into poverty. But if you right now yourself have got your health, if you right now have got a shelter over your head and you've got food on the table, you've also got your time. Now's the time to be taking that for the gift that it is. Here's another thing that Peter said. There are many people who are privileged either in terms of money, emotional support, or some sort of unique talent or opportunity, but they fail to understand the value of time and instead try to rush into their destiny. So ask yourself, before this crisis started, were you in your dream job? Were you living your dream life? If the answer to that is no, then take this for the gift that it is and start investing your time. First, by slowing down, by taking stock, by seeing what would be your ideal life, realigning towards that, and then put your foot in the accelerator again. Joseph Campbell said, we must be willing to get rid of the life we've planned so as to have the life that's waiting for us. So what life is waiting for you? Please do post below whatever is the comment you'd like to leave on the commitment you're going to make for your life. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.